Welcome back to the Doug and Commish Show. We are here with the Commish. I am Doug, and we are going with our previews for Week 2. We're going to start off with our first game, Jockey versus White Trash. Jockey's projected for 110, and White Trash is projected for 89. Now, Jockey's has Chris Johnson against Baltimore, who really had a great defense last week. Do you think Chris Johnson, who didn't really have a great performance in Week 1, what do you think you expect here?
I don't expect a great performance for two reasons. One, he's not football ready, and two, the Ravens have a dominant defense. But with the Johnson, there's always that chance that he could bust one over 40 touchdown.
Also, Jockey says Brady versus San Diego should be a pretty good shootout. On the other side of things, though, or just looking at both wide receivers, White Trash and Jockey both have a New Orleans wide receiver who's really hoping to get the catches that Colston will be getting.
Yep, and I think that's what this game will come down to, is which one of those secondary receivers for the Saints picks up the slack from the Queef Colston.
Okay. Who do you have for this one, Jockeys or White Trash?
I'm taking the upset. I'm taking White Trash because the Dust Jockey will have the letdown after his defeat of the Trash.
All right, next game, Toilet versus Doughboy. Projected Toilet 116, Doughboy 115, so a pretty close game. Toilet has Stafford versus Kansas City, and off camera you said you really like that matchup.
I love the matchup. I also love it because I'm going to be there. So it's a good thing. I mean, what was it, Fitzgerald or what's his name? Buffalo?
Yes.
What's his nuts?
Fitzpatrick, right?
Fitzpatrick. If he can tear them up, the staff can.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that Barry just is out with an ACL for Kansas City. That does not help their secondary at all.
No, it does not.
So Toilet has Burleson going with him. And he's also got Matt Forte against New Orleans. And you saw what the offense did against New Orleans last week of the Packers. Chance that Forte does it again this week?
Probably not likely. That was a freak play. I mean, he broke a bunch of tackles. They just didn't tackle well. It was a freak play that he scored most of his points on. But he'll put up, good number one running back numbers. I wouldn't look for the 30s or anything, but he'll put up good numbers.
AP versus Tampa on the other side for Doughboy.
I like it. I mean, I didn't think that the Buccaneers stopped Javad Best that last week, so I don't see how they'd stop Adrian Peterson.
And he's got Tony Romo over San Francisco. San Francisco got a lot of points last week. A lot of stuff off of kick returns, not necessarily quarterback stuff. But what do you see this game going with, Doughboy versus Toilet? Which direction?
Man, I'm going to take the Toilet. I know he's going to do his best to blow it, but I think that the matchups this week are strong enough to give Toilet the brush, the win.
Right. Nips and Paper. Right now it stands Nips 102, Paper 110. Nips really has no wide receivers. You said that you would rather have Chris Pittenturf catching for them. He would be a better wide receiver than who he's actually putting out there.
I mean, sometimes you say things tongue-in-cheek. I didn't really mean that.
Oh. Okay.
But he can get 0, just like Walker and Lance Moore. So until he fixes that, I mean, he's going to have to play somebody like New Guy to get a win. I just don't see him winning.
His top 3 with Mendenhall, Rodgers, and Javad Best, though, anticipating some
the top 3. Sure, I mean, if they bust out a couple 40-plus touchdown runs or passes or plays or whichever, they can always stay in the game that way. But I just don't see it with the receivers that he's got this week.
On the other side of things, Paper has Breeze going against Chicago. Chicago, tough defense. Chance that Brian Urlacher might not be playing with the death of his mother. We wish him the best. That said, you also have Ray Rice against Tennessee. Another great matchup for him.
It is. You gotta love his matchups.
So who are you taking, Paper or Nips?
I'm taking the show. I think the Nappy and the show both advance, take 2-0 leads. That's good stuff.
So you said Nappy's going to win, so do we even need to preview the Nappy Bean game?
I don't see why. Nappy is going to be strong. I don't like the Beans matchups. It's almost like he's quitting. I just don't like where that matchup is headed for the Beans this week. So I'm going to give it right to the Nappy.
All right, well, we'll move on to the next game. New Guy versus Soldier. New Guy is actually projected to win 116 to 113 against Soldier. And what they've got is they've got an interesting matchup with Michael Vick versus Atlanta for New Guy. but Soldier has McCoy, so they kind of even each other out.
CB.
And then also, Soldier has Big Ben going at Seattle, and New Guy has Mike Wallace going at Seattle. So they kind of are. That game is going to be a monumental game, both of those, Atlanta and Philadelphia, and Seattle and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that this could be the closest game of the week. But, it goes down to clutch coaching, moves, roster moves, faith. New Guy's team has none of that. He's a virgin out here. He doesn't know what's going on. I like his team, really, and his matchups aren't bad either. Michael Vick is outstanding. But I just think that he's in over his head right now. He needs a couple weeks to settle into the GFO. I just don't see it for the NG.
All right. For what it's worth, a lot of people, including the Deuce, our producer, has picked this as the upset special with New Guy beating Soldier.
Wow.
Last game, we have Sass versus Talk, the traditional rivalry here. People have called this Michigan-Ohio State. They have called it Army-Navy. They have even called it...
Who's got Gaint?
Exactly, the Who's Got Gaint game. Anyway, Matt Schaub versus Miami. There's no reason to think that Matt Schaub can't throw like he did last week, as well as same thing like Brady. He's not going to put Brady-like numbers, but he's willing to throw the ball.
No, he definitely is, but this isn't the Colts, and I know that Tom Brady tore up this defense, but this defense is not that bad. They do play some zero coverage, but he'll have his moments, but I don't see the same type of performance. But this is the game of the week. So, Schaub likes the limelight. He might put up some, upper 20 numbers this week.
Ryan against Philadelphia. Matt Ryan versus Philadelphia. Roddy White versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia, has those times when their defense looks unbelievable.
They
blitzing
do.
out of everywhere.
It's going to have to come on a big play because it's not going to be consistent for Ryan and White this week. After this, they've got a clear schedule where they get some nice soft matchups. But this week, against these three corners, it's going to have to be on a messed up coverage or a blown coverage or just a big play that Roddy White makes because it's not going to be consistent.
I think the difference maker here is Peyton Hillis against Indianapolis, who looked pretty inept last week.
They looked horrible in all phases.
Do you care to go ahead and give us your pick?
Well, Trash owns the SAS and has for years now, so I don't see why that would change. The Lombardi is full of, mediocre teams right now. So, I'm going with the Trash on this one since that's the way it's always gone.
All right, well, that wraps us up for the Week 2 previews. And we wish all you fantasy players good luck this weekend and hope that all of your fantasy players are studs.